What's up, traders? Welcome back to the Day Trading Show. In today's episode, we have a special guest, Liam Belton, coming all the way from Ireland to join the show. We're talking about athletics and why athletes tend to make good traders. But we're really piecing this back to understand what goes into great success in athletics and also great success in trading. What characteristics must be developed? How are they developed? We talk a lot about these important characteristics that transcend life, sports, and trading. So sit back and enjoy. I know you're going to love this episode. All right, boys. Well, let's jump in. We're talking today about why athletes make great traders. And I think that this is a great introduction to this topic because it is something that comes up fairly often. I mean, when you look at successful traders, I would say there's a handful of them, if not a good majority of them, that come from one of like 5 different backgrounds. And the ones that come to mind, like athletics, the military, high-level C-suite executives, people that really, I think, show a couple of key characteristics that we're going to talk about today. But everybody, for those of you that are listening, watching, we have a new guest, Liam, who is a member, a longtime member, really, of ASFX, a member of the Black Shirt Club as well. Liam is our guest today. I've got Tom here with me, James here with me. And we're really excited for this conversation. So we appreciate you guys listening in. So Liam, give everybody a quick intro on you and maybe when you joined ASFX and your background outside of trading as well.
Yeah, so I joined ASFX. It's like a COVID thing, so maybe like mid 2020. And before that, I'd been kind of trading sideways or trading negatively for quite a while. And yeah, since I joined ASFX, it gave me the little bit of an edge and a kick to get profitable.
And when did you join the Black Shirt Club?
Was it the start of this year?
Yeah,
it was like January. Start of last year, start of 2022.
So it was like 2 years of you being a regular ASFX member, and then you came into the Black Shirt Club, correct?
Yeah, and then that's when I got funded and stayed funded. Was joining the Black Shirt Club.
Good. Quick flex. So tell everybody what do you do for extracurricular activities outside of trading? What was your field of work? Because I know you're going full time with your trading in March. So what is your field of work that you're transitioning out of?
So I'm a personal trainer. I've been a personal trainer for close to 8 years, which makes me feel very old. So my brother owns the gym. So like leaving secondary school and all through college, I was working there, and then which was great because it's all 1-to-1. It meant I could organize my working week around my college week and now my trading week. But now I'm just taking the next step and going further with it. In college, I studied economics and finance, so I've always had an interest in the market. But I've always liked being diverse, like having the option to go down the finance route, or I've always got that kind of net to fall back on with my brothers in the gym and everything. So I like to have contingencies.
And is your brother an athlete?
They all are, yeah.
Nice. Okay, so it's a family. It's a family thing, and you're in Ireland, right? So you're doing a lot of your athletics is not just skiing and the stuff like that, but I see you doing cold plunges and stuff like that in the actual water. Like you don't need a bucket of water where you live. You just
the actual, well, yes, yeah. Our ocean is cold enough, yeah. I'd like to see Wim Hof in it.
Yeah, exactly. Tom, I feel like you should be jumping in and joining them. You're not too far away. Come on.
I'm not, but I couldn't be any further away from the sea in the UK. I am in the Midlands, so I am miles away from the sea, unfortunately.
So we need to get Tom a bucket. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, I need the bucket.
So wait, so next episode, if this or a pond, if this episode goes well and everybody wants Liam to come back, which I'm sure that they will, we're either going to do it shirtless or we're going to do it in the cold plunge. It's got to be one or the other. All right. That's going to be
like
round
Kevin
2.
Hart's in the
Exactly. So everybody in the comments.
I saw James getting changed before this. I think it'll have to be close to the end of the year, James. Will it for you to cut some of that?
Listen, Yeah,
We might get too many viewers after that. I like to tease them.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say. We could do it both. We could do it shirtless and in the cold plunge, because you ain't going in the cold plunge with a shirt on. So there we go. I think that'll have to be round 2. But let's get into it here, boys. All jokes aside, I think that there's some really good value that Liam can share, not just because of his success over the last 2.5 years with his trading, and his experience in markets, but also because of the background that he's had with some of the athletics that he's coached people through. And I think it'll be really good to draw some parallels from athletics to our trading. So first thing, since we mentioned this already, Liam, how would you compare the Black Shirt Club to a sports team? Now, for those of you that don't know, before you answer this, Liam, the Black Shirt Club is our mentorship group. You can find out more information about this at asfx.biz/BSC. There's links in the description. There's links on our website. It's very easy to find. If you want to potentially join, like Liam has, it worked really well for him. As he said, he got funded, stayed funded, and he's scaling up his trading big time this year, going full time in a few months. So back to my question. How does the BSC compare to a sports team? Liam, if you want to whack at that first.
I think the first thing that jumps out at me is the coaching and accountability. I know James will definitely answer this better, but just to use a rugby team, for example, they've got their forwards coaches and their backs coaches. Within the BSC, Austin's the big dog boss, but then I feel like James and Tom are both opposite ends of the scale. James is, as we know, very discretionary. Tom likes his numbers. And so that's why it appeals to, regardless of your trading style, I just think that's why it works so well. And that's how I would compare it. That's just the first thing that jumped into my head.
That's a great
compare
answer.
It to a sports team.
It's a great answer. Tom, would you like to add anything to that? Because I think that, again, like he said, having the right coach for the right specialty is a big thing. They have the kickers for the kickers have their kicking coach, and James, his forwards, had the forward coach. So I think in soccer, they have multiple coaches. So I think having coaches that bring different skills to the table is a huge value add of the BSC. Tom, you want to take a whack at this question? How does the BSC compare to a sports team? Don't choke on us now.
Timing. Sorry.
We need the med team.
I know,
we need the medic team. Get the medic out there. James, while he's choking, you want to take a whack at this?
Sure,
Let Tom get a drink of water.
Sorry, Tom. Okay. I think in a sports team, like, everybody has their own abilities and their own strengths, and I think that's the thing. Like, and I don't like sitting here and saying that Tom, me, you, and Tom are, like, we don't want to learn on an everyday basis. We're learning from guys, BSC members such as Liam and everyone that's come through the BSC. I mean, Tom was a BSC member at one point too. So I think, like, how it compares to a sports team is that everybody has their own individual strengths, and you can always learn from each and every single one in the Black Shirt Club every single day. And I think that's how you compare it to a sports team. Maybe some person is good in the team's good at passing or defending. So you're learning like this, and you're bouncing ideas off each other.
That's a great point. I think too, like, in that line, you need somebody, like Liam mentioned a little bit too, to hold the whole group accountable, to, like, set the standard of, like, this is what we're doing. And I am definitely willing and able to be that guy. If you guys remember, multiple times when we went through December and everybody was getting quiet and slacking off, I said, look, enjoy the holiday, everybody, because once the holidays are over, I'm cracking the whip. If you're in here and you're not posting what you're supposed, I'm coming at you. I'm calling you out. This is where we raise the bar as a team. So I think there is a lot of parallels to the Black Shirt Club to a sports team. Tom, if you're alive, even if you want to touch on not just how it compares to a sports team, but even maybe talk about how the BSC compares to, like, a prop firm atmosphere too, which is, again, similar.
Yeah, so I think for me, there is a big team spirit in the Black Shirt Club, which I think is extremely important. And whilst we are all sat in our own separate rooms across the globe in all different areas and continents, there definitely feels like there's that team environment. And if one of us wins, we all win, especially when we're all taking trades together. We are always trading live together. We're presenting our screens, we're sharing ideas. And I think that is a huge benefit to the Black Shirt Club, especially when we know that traders may not be getting support from friends or family, or they have people that they're not able to relate to. People in the Black Shirt Club, they can do, and we end up discussing all manner of subjects on life, because there are people in there that resonate with where you are in your journey.
Yeah.
And I think that is a huge, huge, huge benefit of how it feels like a family, I suppose. And that's what you get from any sports team that I've been in. Successful sports teams feel like you are family, and that it's a safe environment. I think we very much got that at the Black Shirt Club.
It's well said. Maybe Liam, could you speak on what it was like to meet Tom and myself, but also Colin, another Black Shirt Club member, at the London seminar? Like, you were working with Colin for months. He was a co-teammate in the Black Shirt Club, and then you finally got to see his tall, Yao Ming ass in person. Speak on what that felt like.
It was actually, I said it to you as well. It was weird that it wasn't weird. It was just like, we're chatting to each other every day for hours on end. So it's just like, yeah, it was just like meeting anyone. It was weird that it wasn't weird. It was really nice though. And it was good to, it's good to have, I think when I first joined the BSC, I remember somebody blew up their funded account. And I was like, yes, this is the place for me. It's nice to see other people fail as I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's just like, okay.
Relatable.
Yeah, relatable is the word. Yeah.
Yeah. With that in mind, of course, we've had some people that have not been as successful as they wanted to be, especially at first when they come into the club with the wrong habits, things that are still there from previous trading. You have been someone who I would say has grown a lot, but also you helped raise the bar for that standard that I was mentioning before. So let's just dive deeper onto that for a second. Liam, if you want to speak first about just in athletics and in trading, what it means to have a standard of excellence, competing against yourself, balancing life with sport, with trading, like keeping everything at a level where you still feel happy and not stressed. Can you speak on like, how do you set that bar, and how do you stay hungry when you are really in a sport or an athletic situation where you're competing against yourself? Like, you do a lot of weightlifting, you do a lot of personal training. When you're doing personal training, that person is competing against themselves the previous day. Just like in trading, you're competing against yourself the previous day. Because if you start to compete against other traders, you're going to set unrealistic expectations. You're going to chase the dollar. So how did you make that switch to keeping the standard high, like the standard of excellence high, but also getting comfortable competing against yourself every day?
Yeah. So the first thing that jumps out is I like to write down stuff. So I like to write out goals and have goals set, and then from there break it into smaller little increments. And I think that's one way how I like to compete with myself, but also just kind of zooming out a little bit too. So I mean, you might have a bad day or a couple of bad days, but comparing that back to 2 months ago or 3 months ago, you're always trending up, just like a market trend.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just being a little bit self-aware, having your goals and being self-aware. They're like two big things for me.
I love that. I would just add to not just self-awareness of where you are in the timeline of your journey. That's what you're saying. Like, zoom out.
Yeah.
Say, yeah, I might not be having the best day today. Let's walk away and still continue to move forward rather than dig ourselves down, rather than overtrade and blow up or build up that negative self-talk. So I love that answer. Tom, do you want to add anything to that about keeping standards high and competing against yourself?
Yeah, I think it's something that I'm particularly trying to work on in 2023. But for me, I think how you do one thing is how you do everything. And
I love that.
Until I started tracking my on the chart and off the chart habits, as well as my trading stats, I never really understood how you behave off the charts bleeds into your trading. And the more I tracked, the more self-aware I became that my discipline would fade towards the end of a day, towards the end of a week, whether I was up to some extracurricular activities the night before down the pub, and that affects it. So now in 2023, if I really want to succeed and make it to the level that I really want to get to, I'm going to have to make sacrifices and be ultra disciplined outside of the charts, so that when I'm on the charts, that comes to fruition. So I think that's again where you're always competing against yourself. You set them standards from the moment you wake up until the moment you get to sleep at night. And if you don't meet them standards, at some point, complacency will get in or bad habits will slip in. And I am a great believer that your P&L is a lagging indicator of your habits and discipline. So it may not be straight away, but suddenly 4, 5, 6 weeks down the line, if you start to become undisciplined, it will have an effect on your P&L. So I think
how has that changed for you with having a kid, with your family dynamic changing? How are you choosing the sacrifices to keep your standards in your business high? Because like that's something I'm going to go through as well, as you know, in a few months. So do you choose to make sacrifices sometimes to the family, sometimes to the business? Do you sacrifice family always for the pursuit of these big goals? How do you justify that? Because then that's where the standard starts to move. The bar starts to go up or down depending on the sacrifices you make, right?
Yeah. So first of all is the time that a kid consumes, a baby consumes. Wow, you are in for the shock of your life.
We need a podcast for this, though. How to be a new dad.
We could have trading parents. Yeah.
Yep. That should be the next show.
Yeah. So for me, it then just comes down to what do you value most? Because that's what you're going to make time for in your life. So at the minute, it's going to be trading and time with my family. Right. So I now have from the moment I wake up at 6 a.m. until the moment I try and get into bed at 10 o'clock, although that gets sideswiped most nights, depending on what time the baby wants feeding. But I'm very, very structured. But that means I now have to sacrifice other elements. So that's time with friends or social events with friends. For me, and I'm very, very grateful and very gracious that I have a very understanding better half, and she lets me work the hours that I need to. So I'm either at work or I'm with the family, and that's it now. For 2023, that's me. So yeah, unfortunately, if any of the friends are listening to it, if you want me, you best come and sit next to me at my trading desk or come out for a run in the middle of the day, because that's the only time you'll get me.
That's it. So to go to, I want to pass the stick to James. That's a great answer, Tom. And I think we will do a podcast about being a dad and balancing that with trading. I think a lot of guys can relate to that because, when I posted, about me and Riley having a kid, like, I don't want to be talking about that all the time, similar to you. Like, it's just not necessary. But like, I got so many people DMing me, bro. It's going to change your life. I can't wait for you to talk about it. I can't wait to hear how you so many guys out there that listen to us are dads, so I think it's very relatable. And that's a cool thing for me and our business to go through as I get older and as we mature, we will become more relatable to a different audience. But I think at the same time, we will grow with our audience, so it's very, very cool. So let me pass it to James. When we're talking about competing against yourself, James, you played rugby. Everybody knows that was your main thing, professional rugby. And that is a team sport. That is not a one-man sport. My big sport was soccer and track. Soccer is a team sport. I'll be honest, I was never like a team player to the extent that I think I should be or that I am now. I think I was very selfish as a kid. And that's why I gravitated towards track, where I could control everything, right? Except on the relay race. So with your team sport background, how did that transition to you saying, I know how to work well in a team, to now let me translate that into working well in a trading community?
Yeah, good question. So I think when you are, when you are on a rugby team, which is the same as what we are on a team in the ASFX trading community as a whole, I think you can't always think about yourself. I think that's something that, especially when I left school, I was one of the better players in high school, in my region, and then leaving that and going, to this big wide open world where you're playing for contracts. I think a lot of the big thing was finding out that you're not always going to be now the best person on the rugby field, right? You got to compete, and that means that sometimes you got to do something for the betterment of the team. So whether that is, in trading, it could be, putting in the extra hour with the daily report card so people can learn from you, just stuff like that, little things. So, or doing markups to show guys that how you're reading the charts, or, you know, maybe get on a 5-minute call with someone that doesn't understand something so that you're both on the same page, or putting and being comfortable enough to put yourself out there and be like, listen, I don't understand how you took this trade, or I'm not understanding this aspect of your trading. Can you please explain that to me? But I think still within the team, I think what I found after school, and Liam can speak on this too, I wanted to ask him also about discipline and that off the desk, is that you got to be disciplined in yourself, to be like, you're still competing with yourself, even though you're in a team, because if you're not competing, if you're not working to improve yourself every single day, then you're letting the team down. So I think that it's like a individual thing as well as a team thing. It's not like, yes, you working as a team, but you also got to work on yourself to be able to contribute to your full potential within that team.
Yeah, that's a great point, because then the team keeps growing and you're not growing, and then you become the weak link on the team.
Yeah,
right.
You're only as strong as your weakest link. Yeah,
I love that. That's exactly it. So let's play a game. We're going to go around. We'll start with Liam. I want everyone to name one skill that is needed to be a winner in sports and in trading. You have 5 seconds to think about it. One skill. Liam, you're up first.
I feel like discipline's the easy one because we keep mentioning it.
Okay. Discipline's good. We'll circle back and we'll let everybody dive deep. Discipline is Liam's. Tom, you got one?
Persistence.
Good one. We'll come back to that one. Discipline, persistence.
Tom, well done.
Sorry.
I got one. Well, you can think, James. Precision. So precision and persistence, 2 P words, but they mean different things. So mine is precision. You need to be precise. James, you got one?
Okay, mine is execution.
I like that. All right, so let's go around and break this down. So I'll start first really quick. The reason I say precision is a skill that's needed, whether you're shooting a soccer ball from 34 yards out and you want to put it top shelf, top corner, upper 90, whatever, you got to be precise. That ball has to just squeeze in there. And in the same way with your trading, you want to be precise in your execution, which James will talk about. But also when I say it in your trading, I mean it in like your tracking and in your process. You want to be precise with your routine, precise with your habits, because like Tom mentioned, they translate from off the chart to on the chart. So I think precision paralleled with the word focus, they mean the same thing. Like it just requires a lot of focus. No athlete is really good and they're not focused. Do you think Cristiano Ronaldo got this big contract because he's lackadaisical with soccer? No, bro, he's in the gym still at his age, still trying to be the best, So I think that level of precision and focus is needed in trading and in sport. So that's mine. James, we'll pass it back to you. Talk about execution for a second.
Sure. So the reason I said execution is, I think, and this is relatable to sports as well, and I think very relatable to sports, is that many professional, whether you're a rugby player, football player, whatever you are, many and traders, you can relate it to trading on a demo account. Many traders can execute in practice, but it's a whole different ball game when you're actually executing in a live game when the lights are on you. So if you, and that's why you get many analysts in trading. I'm not trying to be I'm not saying I've made it or anything like that or be mean or anything, but you get a lot of analysts that work for banks or whatever it is, but they're not actual traders. They're just giving their analysis of the market. Anybody can say, I think this is going to be going up and down in the next whatever week or so, but to actually execute and put your processes into an actual trade idea and put real money on it. So you got to put the money where your mouth is. And it's the same as a professional sports player. You can do everything well at practice, but if you're not executing in the game, it means nothing.
You could trash talk all you want and try to mentally get in the head of the other team, but if you can't execute, they're still going to whoop your ass, right?
Exactly.
Question from me then on that one, back to James. How do you, or how have you developed the ability then to perform in the moment, both from a professional rugby perspective and now in the markets?
Practice. It's all through practice and repetition. The more you practice, the luckier you get. So it's like you have to continue to practice to be able to perform when you got to work when the lights aren't on you to be able to perform when the lights are on. So like it's just, it's you can't expect to not put in any work and then expect to perform on game day. It just doesn't work like that. That's what I learned a lot after school, is that you got to be putting in your best sessions have to be at practice, because then you'll be ready for the matches. It's the same in trading. You have to be prepared and doing the work, the daily report cards, weekly report cards, pattern recognition to be able to perform when it's your trading session.
It's well said. I agree. So to Liam now, with what we just said between my response and James's response, and then we'll go to Tom. It seems like yours, Liam, is the foundation of everything. Like, you're not going to execute well if you're not disciplined. You're not going to be focused and precise if you're not disciplined. And you're not going to be persistent, like Tom said, if you're not disciplined. So talk a little bit about how discipline is developed from your perspective, from what you've seen.
I think, again, like I mentioned before, I think to make a plan and to stick to the plan.
That's so easy to say, but it's so easy, bro. When you get punched in the mouth, right? You just said this last episode.
Like Mike Tyson said.
You get punched in the mouth, everything goes out the window, right? So how do you develop the discipline to stay disciplined when you get punched in the mouth?
I see this, like, I see making a plan on two scales. So like a micro and macro. So like your plan for the year, my plan is to get funded more money and live somewhere sunny. Like, that's the big plan. But then day to day, micro plan is I'm going to take this D1, I'm going to enter here, exit here, stop loss goes here. That's the plan. I think that's compared to, I've developed, I think I've got good at sticking to my plan through sport and through cold plunges, through sauna seconds. Honestly, it's like you've got a plan for your session, your whatever it is. I mean, we were talking about CrossFit before, so if you're doing Fran or whatever, like, this is my plan. I know I'm going to be fucking breathing out of my ass halfway through, but this is the plan. I'm sticking to it. And then sitting looking at a chart is easy if you can do that.
So you don't negotiate with yourself. That's what you're saying, bro. I'm going to take your words in a different way. You set the standard from whatever it is inside you, and you say, this is what we're running 5 miles today. This is non-negotiable. Get up. I don't care how you feel, right? Isn't that the Andrew Tate thing that's been going all over the internet? Men don't go work out because they want to work out. They work out because they have to. You do it because you do what you have to do. So where does that, is that instilled in you because you have older brothers that are athletic and disciplined and you just picked it up from them?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think also being I'm the youngest, so I think you're always chasing that. You always want to beat your big brother at whatever it is.
Right.
So there's no excuses. And it's just getting it done. It's like, that's just it. I'm from the country, so we're like out, chopping sticks and digging holes. You just do it.
Well, we should study this, Tom. And I say Tom because I know Tom loves this shit. We should study, like, what makes people stick to what has happened, like to Liam, and I would say the three of us as well. What has happened to us that we're able to still, no matter how we feel, no matter what we want, we do what the rules and the plans say to do? Where did we make that switch? If you study that moment, that turning point for a lot of people, there could be commonalities in that, because all of us, it's happened at different times. It's never like you whisper some sweet, spell into somebody's ear and now all of a sudden they are disciplined. It's probably that they've been burned or they've seen people waste time and they don't want to repeat that. It's probably something like that. But I feel like if you're trying to be disciplined, it's very easy to be disciplined when you've seen the byproduct of what not being disciplined gets you, right? Out of shape, health problems, blah, 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 all of that. So when you've seen what it gets you to not be disciplined, if you don't want that bad enough, then you probably will be disciplined because you don't want to end up in that position. You know what I'm saying?
I think if
you're very honest, sorry, Tom.
No, go on.
I think if you're being very honest with yourself and you review yourself ruthlessly, that's where it comes from. It's like, all right, well, this hasn't worked in the past, so why am I still doing it? It's like, either start doing it right or just, this is not for you, move on.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Tom?
To be a little bit of tough love.
Yeah, exactly. Tough love. Exactly. What were you going to say, Tom?
When you said about the turning point, I think in a lot of people it's pain. It's when, like, from a weight perspective, it's when the pain of being overweight is more than the pain of going to the gym.
That's exactly it. Right.
And the pain of being broke.
Right.
Versus the pain of going out there and starting a business.
Facts, bro. And it's not even about starting a business. You could just hustle your way, get a new job.
Save anything.
Save,
whatever it may be.
You're tired of paying bills.
Going out down the pub.
Right. Exactly.
Out, takeaways.
Exactly.
It's the pain that it pulls. Yeah.
It's that, like, that's a great example where you get to the end of the month, you've paid your bills, maybe if you're in a good spot, and then you have no money left over. And that's painful. I've been there. You pay everything off. You think you're trying to get ahead and you got nothing left over to show for it. That is the kind of pain that will motivate anybody to go make money. I think some people, it clearly doesn't. Some people don't give a fuck. Like some people just, they don't care the same way. But I think for us, you know, motivated, testosterone filled men, you normally will find some reason in your scenario in life, especially when you're coming up, to say, I am going to make a change, whether it's to my finances or my athletics. I'm going to make a change. Maybe it's to both. And that is rooted in pain. I'm tired of seeing, oh, my parents had health problems. I don't want health problems. Boom. I'm going to make a change. I just saw my dad die. Now I got to make a change. You know what I'm saying? So I think you're spot on with that, Tom. I want to go to another question for Liam really quick, if we can. I want to talk about, actually, before we do that, I have to go back to Tom, because Tom, you mentioned persistence, right?
Persistence.
As your skill. So you want to talk about that before we go into our last set of questions?
Yeah, so I think for me, persistence is a key characteristic that athletes and traders need, because you are going to get knocked down in both endeavors, and you're going to get knocked down a lot.
Yep.
You're going to lose matches week after week.
Yep.
Season after season.
Might take
you're going to lose tackles. You're going to get injured.
Yep.
From a sports perspective, you're going to have to sit on the sidelines. You're going to get benched. You're not going to have a good match. People are going to boo you. You are going to come under scrutiny many times throughout your career. And it's exactly the same in trading. It's the loss day after day, or month after month, or the strategy you trade no longer working. You're going to have to get sideswiped from a life event that leads to ill discipline. You're going to end up losing that £500,000 on a trade because you didn't put your stop loss in and a breaking news event comes. And unless you have persistence to keep grinding and picking yourself up off the floor, you're never going to succeed. And so many people lack this ability. When the times get really, really tough, they quit. And that's when they're the closest to succeeding than they ever will have been.
Yep.
Every mistake and failure is a step closer towards your goal.
Yeah, that's hard to see, though. When you're eating shit and everything sucks and you're losing money, it's very hard to see that. How do you develop the brain, if you would, the mindset to say, this is the crap that is worth me eating short term for my longer term goals? How do you know what it is? Because like I would say, like I knew trading was it. I knew I was going to eat crap, like Gary Vee says, in the short term, but big picture, it would be it for me. I was going to make this work. I don't know how I knew that, though. So how would you say, if someone's listening to this, Tom, I want to be more persistent, but I don't know how? Would you just say they haven't found the thing that they love yet? They haven't found a passion that they can't let go of yet? They need to keep trying? How would you develop the persistence?
Yeah, I do. I think the love for something and the passion for something has a huge, huge part to play.
Right.
And I think no matter what age you are, I think you should be experimenting and trying new things to really find what does resonate you. And even you can go down into niches of part of it. So it's like trading such a huge umbrella. You've got stocks, you've got forex, you've got crypto, you've got swing trading, you've got scalping, you've got day trading. There is a niche for everybody. So trading as an umbrella is still huge, and as is rugby. Like you've got 15 players on a team, they do completely different jobs, and somebody is not going to be physiologically built to be able to become a hooker and a back. So you have to find within your umbrella or your passion that niche still, I think, to really, really focus down and say, right, I am prepared to fight tooth and nail for this. And then I think until you find that, you will quit and you'll just move on to something else.
You know, the language barrier, you're spot on. The language is funny, bro. When you mention a hooker, it's not what I think of, but I know what you're talking about. So that was funny. You're like, the niches are in the hookers. It's like, all right, got it. Everybody in America, take notes. The niches, the money is in the hookers. Got it. So I'm being funny. You guys know that I'm being funny, but that's a great answer, Tom. I think that passion does play a big part in it, but maybe Liam, would you add anything to that about like how persistence can be enhanced? Is it just find what you love and then you're just going to do it? Is it are you born with it? Like some people are more persistent than others. What are your opinions from who you've worked with and what you've seen, Liam, in life?
Yeah, I think some people are born with it and they're just a little bit more ignorant to outside to their environment, and they'll just do it regardless and get there eventually.
Yeah.
I think some people develop it through failure, and then some people just give up and move on. I think if you're to categorize it, I think there's just three of them. Yeah. I think most people will learn from it if they really, really want to, and then there's like a smaller few who will give up, and a smaller few who just keep going.
Right. No, I totally agree. I want to pass it back, Tom. I know you were going to say something, but that made me think of there's a Richard Branson quote that one of his teachers when he was a kid said, Richard, you're either going to be in jail or you're going to be a billionaire, because he was so disruptive, so non-conventional in so many ways in the way of his learning and things like that. But look at what you're saying. Persistence. They spotted persistence in Richard as a child. And his persistence might have been to not follow the rules all the time or not do exactly what he's told. Yeah. But that persistence made his teacher say, bro, you're either going to end up in jail because you're so persistent, you're going to do something wrong, or you're going to end up extremely successful to where people all around the world know your name. And they were right. He didn't end up in jail, So I think that you are sometimes born with persistence. And I think it's up to people like that. And I would say, again, all of us have this characteristic where we were all athletic and born with that persistence to achieve success. You have a duty then, if you are that person, to live into that. You should not waste it. To squander that is wasting life. So, Tom, I wanted to pass it back to you.
Yeah, so Liam mentioned a word there as sort of an environment. And I think that was what was struck me, is like, a lot of people will go through life getting knocked down from a family perspective, in school, relationships as well. And I do think that it's that can almost pull you through them really tough times. And you don't know the tough times when they're happening, especially when you're a kid and when you're in high school and things like that, like bullying in the playground. Like even things like that can help and shape and mold you to becoming resilient.
Right.
Because you're ultimately, like I say, getting sort of knocked down as well. So I think life's environment can shape that as well. And I think it can be bred into you through the experiences that you face in life.
Well said. It's very well said. I mean, we are the byproduct of the good and bad situations that we go through, and more importantly, how we decide to handle them, And I think all of us have, again, I'm stroking all of us on this episode, but I think all of us have the ability, and maybe this is something people can take away from today's episode, if not anything else. All of us have the ability to see a situation, whether take a losing trade or a losing match, either one. You can either choose to look at that situation and let it define you. James, when you had an injury with your knee, you can let that situation define you and say, okay, I'm done. Or our season's done, or my trading sucks. You can let it define you. Or you can choose to learn from it, choose to use it as fuel to make you better. And all of us default take those losses and the mistakes. We've programmed our brain to say, it's not even a loss. I don't even know what that word means. It's a lesson. That's really important. I think that's something.
Win or learn.
Yes, exactly. You win or learn. Exactly. So let me go to one of my last sections here. I want to make sure we touch on this. Liam, this one will start with you. With your experience through working with athletes and seeing people develop and make small improvements every day, how important is it to you to set small goals that are easily achievable? Or do you go to the boat of, I want to set big goals on the month or on the yearly scale, and we're going to aim for that? Which boat do you sit in when you try to set goals for people? And again, this will be in trading or in fitness.
It depends. For setting it with the client, it depends on the individual. So it's learning what works for them. Just to use myself as an example, I like to have the big North Star and then break it into smaller weekly goals, monthly goals, daily goals even. Yeah. Isn't there a book or something, Win the Day, or a phrase, whatever that is?
Yep.
So that's what I'll do. I like smaller, short-term goals, staying small and consistent. And then it's more manageable. It's bite-sized. It's easier, and then but still having that big goal to kind of that North Star to
drive the ship towards
you on track.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So pass it. Yeah, I was going to pass this to you, Tom, because you just posted a video about the 1% better every day, and that's what this sounds like.
Yeah, so I think again it stems from the Kaizen philosophy for me. Obviously, the Kaizen trader, continuous improvement, and I really like the small steps and the small continuous goals like Liam does, because I think it offers such a psychological advantage in the fact that you are stacking them small wins, and in the process you're gaining confidence and you are seeing progress towards that bigger goal. That big goal of wanting to make 7 figures or become an 8-figure trader or whatever it may be can be massively overwhelming. And because it's so overwhelming, people look at it and just don't think it's achievable and think, well, fuck it, I'm not going to bother trying to even get there because it's so big. Whereas if they break it down into, well, what does that look like from a 12-step rule or 12 steps? That's every month. And then you break it down every week. And then every day you can break something down into 360 really small steps, one thing a day that will help you get there. And even if you don't get there, say you fall short, by the end of that year, you are going to be so much closer to that goal than you would be if you did nothing at all. And that's the power of small steps. And that video that you touched on was getting 1% better every month in 3 areas of your trading: your average win rate, your average loss, and your average winner. If you get 1% better through them throughout the year, that will have an impact of 150% return on your profit and loss.
It's crazy.
I think to compare that to sport, because that's what we're doing, it's like I've learned from being in the gym, it's like adding a kilo a week to your lift or running 5 seconds faster on your 5K weekly. It doesn't seem like much at the time, but that's 50 kilos a year or whatever that is.
And how many try and add like 10 kg onto their bench press and then just be like, well, I can't do this, and then stop going to the gym.
Right.
I was that person 10 years ago. Like I only learned the hard way. I used to, add loads on and then miss a lift and get pissed off for the week. And there was a little cycle for a while. So I think you just have to mature and learn from your own mistakes.
I think that's well said. What characteristics within yourself are you trying to develop this year, Liam, to become a better winner in athletics and in sports? What are you trying to develop within yourself?
I think just build my 1%, so like get better at my DRCs, and then everything off the desk. I think no one major area, but overall bring everything up.
I like that. Do you think that when you have the background that you have, it sets you up for success in trading? Do you feel now that you're funded, you've seen, consistent results for the last couple of months, if not longer than that now? Do you feel like the background and the foundation you had through athletics helped you succeed? Because like you've seen people in the Black Shirt Club, especially in ASFX, like you've seen where people come from, you've seen the different backgrounds. So do you think your background set you up for success in trading?
Yeah, 100%. I can see the positive effect that just really focusing, even like 3 months or 6 months focusing on something for that time. It's such a short period of time in the grand scheme of things. Just knuckling down on something like that for 6 months, whatever it is, can really shift your trajectory so much. And I've seen that, just like taking periods of where I'm training and just focusing on one thing or whatever it might be, and then carrying it over to trading. It's the similarities are crazy.
I like that. It's very, very true. Who's your favorite sports person of all time? Any sport.
Of all time?
Yeah.
God. I don't know. I like Mike Tyson. Just because he talks the shit, though.
It's true. Okay. Well, I'm going to ask everybody that. So, Tom, do you have a favorite sports person? And we'll come back to why in a second.
Tiger Woods.
I knew you were going to say that. James, who do you got?
Mine would probably be between Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan. But since Tom took Tiger Woods, my answer again, I'll go with Michael Jordan.
So I'll take Lionel Messi because I think he's one of the best, if not the best athlete of all time. But let's talk about why. So you said Mike Tyson, Liam. What characteristic stands out to you in Mike Tyson? And what maybe not even stands out, let me say that in a different way. What part of Mike Tyson's story motivates you? How do you use it for fuel?
Um, I can't compare myself. I think our worlds are just so different. I can't even find any similarities there. I just think as an athlete, he's just a monster. I just respect him so much. I think
But
if he
why?
had have gone into I think he
Because he
changed
wins?
heavyweight boxing.
Okay.
He was smaller than everyone else. His style was different.
Right.
Um,
And but I'm getting at the question of, do you use that motivation that you take from someone like him, and do you apply that into your own life, into your own trading?
I understand what you're saying. He would not be the person. I can't think of offhand. I do have people. I don't know. You threw me there, Austin.
That's my job, bro. That's my job. All right, pass it to Tom. Pass it to Tom. Tom, what are you taking from Tiger Woods and applying into your life? Like, what motivates you about his story the most?
He completely moved not even the goalpost. He put us in a completely different pitch. That guy came onto the scene and just dominated. He was so driven by a single goal.
Yep.
That nothing got in his way. He
Get
had
laid?
Well, there's a completely different story. You can go completely off the rails, do whatever you want, and still win a green jacket.
Whatever you want, bro.
Whatever you want to say about that, big respect, fair play. What a man!
No, I'm being
what a
funny.
man! No, but yeah, he's not made some great decisions at times, but wow, what a driven individual to go through what he went through and to like stay at the top of the game. It's not. There's so many kids out there now, but he dominated for years. He years and years. He was the first sports billionaire.
Yep.
He was at the world number one for like something daft like 400 weeks or something silly.
Yeah. Amazing.
And he set the bar, and there are so many people trying to emulate him. The game will never find another Tiger Woods.
No.
He's too competitive now, but he changed the game forever.
Yep. And look at what you chose as your word 20 minutes ago. Persistence. Look at Tiger Woods' main characteristic that's allowed him to succeed. Same thing.
Yeah.
So, James, passing it to you now. You chose Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Well, just to speak on Tiger Woods as well, because actually on my trading plan at the bottom of my rules index card, I actually have written there Tiger Woods mentality, which I've had on my trading plan for about 3 years now. I think just the fact that, like, just to speak on him quickly about like how he rose to fame he dominated, as Tom said. I think in like 3 or 4 seasons, he made more money by himself than the number 2 and 3 on the money list made combined. So it's like he just dominated, and the amount of weeks he's been at number one. And then obviously going through the divorce and everything and the scandals, and then coming back and then still coming back to win another major after all the back injuries.
That's his quote. Success is defined by what you overcome, not by what you achieve.
Yeah, he actually said that in his
persistence.
He actually said that in his when he was apologizing to the world for his scandals. He actually said the quote. He said, "Success is not defined by what you achieve, but what you overcome to achieve that success."
I love that.
Which I really, really like. I love that
Me
quote.
too.
That you can go watch it on YouTube. He actually, when he's saying apologies, that's what the first quote he comes out and says. But then just talking on Michael Jordan, since Tom loves stealing my guys. Something I love about Michael is the fact that he has the utmost most self-confidence in himself. So watching The Last Dance, he said to his his college coach that he's going to be the greatest player to ever come out of North Carolina, the University of North Carolina. At practice the one day, and the coach was he hadn't prepared or something like that, and the coach said, "I thought you said you're going to be the." Oh, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were going to be the best." And he's like, "I'm gonna prove you right." And then look what he became. And then just something also in The Last Dance that really stood out to me, and Chris from the BSC always gives me a rev, because I always share this every single time the Black Shirt Club the guys come in, the new guys come in. It's about being present in the moment. I think as traders, we always look to see on how much money we can make for the year or for the week, or et cetera, et cetera. But in the last dance, they spoke about Michael Jordan, and specifically the commentator said that Michael Jordan's greatest gift was not that he could run fast or jump high or shoot a basketball. It was that he was completely present, and that was a separator. And I think just being completely present in the actual moment and enjoying the moment for what it is, not worrying about if you're going to lose your next trade or how much you're going to make at the end of the month or year, but actually being completely present in the actual trading day and trading session, and in that moment, and being grateful for it is a big separator. Now, that's one thing I really like about Michael Jordan.
You do that so well. I do give you credit for that 100%. You are more present as you get older too with your trading than you were in the past. And I think that that's a thing you take from him. But look, even your word back at the beginning about what successful athletes and traders share, the characteristic, you chose execution. What was Michael doing 4 hours before a game? Practicing his execution. Out on the court before everybody else, practicing his execution, getting the rhythm, getting the flow, getting into the zone where he performs the best. So again, it's funny when we pick these words back 20 minutes ago, and then we pick an athlete that we use as motivation in our everyday life, they align very much. So you really, even for us talking here, like listen to how much these athletes have impacted us and the way that we view success and the way that we view determination and execution and persistence and discipline. These important words that are fun to toss around, but it's important, and this is why it was, I think, a great episode. It's important to piece like the layers of the onion away. Why is that word so important? Why is it tossed around all the time? How is it developed? How is it enhanced? Those are the conversations that we got to keep having. So I think that this has been amazing. Liam, you're an amazing guest, bro. You're an amazing trader. You're an amazing guy, bro. You know I love you. So I'm really appreciative of you coming on and doing this. I'm serious. Everybody watching, listening, make sure you hit the comments and tell us, what did you like? What didn't you like? And when we have Liam back on for round 2, should we do it shirtless in the ice bath? Tom will be in a pond. Me and James will be in a bathtub, and Liam will be in the ocean.
I think I know why Liam liked Mark Tyson. Just a quick one, because he likes biting people's ears. So apparently in London, he was whispering in people's ears all the time.
I told you that in confidence, James. That's
I love it.
That's my signature move on Tinder. I told you that.
That's the Liam signature. He'll whisper sweet nothings to you, especially like right at the end of the. He's going to sign off the podcast. Goodbye, everybody. You know what I'm saying? No, but listen, boys, it's been great. Tom, James, I appreciate you guys sharing your input. Having athletic backgrounds helps this conversation flow a lot. And Liam, we'll definitely have to do it again, bro. So for everybody listening, watching,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Make sure you guys leave a review, drop a comment, subscribe, do the whole thing. You know the deal. We appreciate it. We're going to keep the episodes coming to you guys all 2023. Guys, thank you very much. Everybody, thank you again, and we'll see you in the next episode.